Chair of this subcommittee. From Arizona, Ms. Lesko for her 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all of you for being here for quite some time. Mr. Chernowski, in your testimony, you included a consequence frequency chart of electric grid threats. Which threats should we put most of our resources into to prevent?
For prevention, I think you want to look at those high consequence, low impact type events on that vertical asymptote right there, the things that have truly catastrophic consequences.
Do you have the chart in front of you? Can you name off which ones you're talking about?
So that would be the targeted sabotage at the very top, insider threats, cyber attacks against operational technology, industrial control systems.
Okay. Mr. Walker, I went to the North Carolina substation site where there was a shooting. I noticed there was a chain link fence, and in Arizona, they usually have chain link fences around the substation. Do you think it would help to have a block wall around these substations where it's practical?
I don't think that the entire grid needs to have that type of protection. Mm-hmm. However, I do believe that there are highly important backbone corridors throughout our transmission system that hold each of the interconnects together. And I would offer that those corridors would be protected in a way that we protect nothing else in this country. Because what that would do is it would help us ensure that the system doesn't go completely black and enables us, therefore, to use those corridors to actually rebuild the system where it may otherwise be impacted through cyber or physical means. So the backbone corridors should be protected that way. It's impractical to protect the rest of the grid that way. There's over 10,000 transmission corridors in the United States. But if we distilled it down to the couple hundred that are really the most important, as well as the transmission corridors that are designated as defense critical electric infrastructure as required by the 2015 FAST Act.
And some of these protections, I've been told, are fairly expensive. So do you think that our government should invest in trying to protect some of these critical corridors?
I think the regulatory models actually exist that would enable the companies that do this to make the investment. I think the encouragement or partnership with the federal government would help facilitate that, or through NERC. In 2019, Chairman Chatterjee and I hosted a technical conference, joint technical conference when I was at DOE, with that in mind, with making investments in the grid and utilizing the FERC rate-making process to socialize it across the United States, because really we were making the investment for national security purposes. And therefore, because we were making it for national security purposes, we also contemplated that there should be a mechanism to be able to, like an adder, like a FCC adder type thing on people's bills, to provide that extra security on the system. So I think the federal government should do it because we're talking about national security, and every citizen in the United States benefits from that. But there is tremendous opportunity, and there has been a lot of work done in this space with regard to the ability to protect these assets. I would note that there's a number of labs that protect, Lawrence Livermore, Sandia, that actually protect the nuclear weapons stockpile. And there's capabilities that we could glean from that mechanism and process, as well as work that Idaho National Lab has done in this space.
Thank you. When I was at the North Carolina site, we had a field hearing, and one of the questions I asked was about this block wall, and one of the answers was, well, you know, then drones would come in, right? And so my next question to you, Mr. Walker, would be, do you think that it's a good idea to maybe have no-fly zones for drones around substations or other critical infrastructure?
That's a possibility. I'm not sure how practical that is. I think one of the things we've looked at and talked about in the industry, I know in DOE we did significant research and developed capabilities for this, is actually using acoustic monitoring for drone detection, as well as being able to use it for detection of people or other, any noises. Monitoring at those substations is something that there is a plethora of ideas and capabilities and innovative solutions that can be utilized to better protect our substations throughout the United States. I think that the ones that really represent those critical backbones, we should spare no expense to make sure that they maintain, their viability because of all of the things we've talked about here with regard to how important the electric grid is. We need those backbone corridors, and we need the DCI corridors so that we can project force, as Secretary Stockton noted.
Thank you, and my time has expired, so I yield back.
Chair yields back. Now